So one of the most defining moments of my healing journey happened at a men's workshop at the former Integral Center in Boulder. And we were paired up, me with this fierce, wild-eyed, hulking man who had been in men's groups for years. The instruction, express your inner warrior with full force. Yell, stand your ground, make the other man feel your power until one of you backs down. Y'all can imagine it. And his roar was so fierce that it shook me to the core, and my roar, I don't know, think of Simba's first roar in The Lion King, lacking confidence, tentative, faking it. And I just started laughing halfway through. And then I tried again. I couldn't even pretend that I believed in my roar. I couldn't find my power, much less make another man back down. I could meditate, I could sing, but I was definitely not passing this test of manhood. And that moment changed me. I was 30 years old and he was maybe 45, and I realized I need some mentorship here. I need to heal, to find my soul. I need to find my roar. And 13 years later, I've been taking self-defense classes and can more or less stand my ground without shutting down. I can access my rage without losing it, thanks to men's workshops. And there's still more to do, but I'm here. I feel connected to my manhood, to my body, to my soul. Finally, after feeling more like I was faking it or lost in my head with theories about it for years. But I learned one thing the hard way, and this is what I want to share with you in this video. So men's healing and gay men's healing aren't the same. In short, healing is much easier surrounded by people who you relate to. It's hard to do this as an outsider. And at that workshop I mentioned, I was the only gay man in a room of 30 straight men. No one understood why I couldn't just perk up and express myself, to be a man and share my rage. Their way of supporting each other worked for them, but it didn't work for me. I was the outsider, and my nervous system was not going to calm down enough to get over myself there. I appreciated their mentorship. I grew a lot watching men who embodied both power and love, seeing men who could be strong without being hardened and kind without being weak. But to heal and find my power, I needed other gay men. I don't know how many years I spent giving away my power, trying to squeeze myself into groups of straight men, hoping to be accepted or to find myself. And maybe you know this feeling, that sense of high school all over again, where fitting in wasn't optional, it was survival. It's easy to continue that pattern for decades instead of surrounding ourselves as an adult with men who we relate to, who help us grow and become our full selves. We find ourselves complaining about feeling like an outsider, that we don't belong, grasping for that belonging where it was never truly offered. We say it's rejection, or we say it's homophobia, but sometimes we use that blaming to avoid facing the deeper truth that we are trying to force ourselves to belong and fit in a narrow little box with people and places where we will never feel comfortable. It has more to do with us than with them. The result is we end up not being true to ourselves. And sometimes it's not even trauma, it's just a mismatch. The chemistry, right, between gay and straight men isn't always a fit. We don't need every door in the world to be open to us. And that's not blame, that's just truth. And at a certain point, I had to let go of the fantasy, of the story in my head that my healing would happen in communities where I had to hide parts of myself to be accepted. And that included my sexuality, my sensitivity, my personality. And let's be honest, right? Hiding is exhausting. And why hide? Why hide when there are people and communities with their doors wide open, ready to embrace me, ready to embrace you on your journey? Authenticity is medicine. And if we have to trade authenticity for belonging, then it's not real belonging. So here's what changed everything for me. I made peace with being an outsider in certain spaces and places, and I stopped making that a problem. And I committed to finding the ones or creating the ones where I didn't have to pretend to be something I'm not. Spaces where my full self is welcome, erotic, emotional, spiritual, and where my presence doesn't raise defenses, where softness isn't suspicious, where my masculinity isn't under a microscope, where my freedom doesn't shut people down, and I can be me. So for me, I found this when I went to my first gay men's Tantra retreat. So imagine a room filled with 20 other gay men, no fear of being found out, a space where chemistry could exist without shame or repression, pretending it's not there. I experienced deep emotional release and rage and grief and power, tenderness all bubbled up through me, guided by gay men who had already walked the path, and real mentors for the first time in my life, the teachers I had craved literally my entire life. And at this Tantra retreat, something in me finally let go, something in me grieved, something in me loved. And for the first time, I had both mentorship and membership, that sense of belonging and support. And it reset my life and I healed. But healing the masculine is not simple. We all have different reactions to the man inside us, right? Sometimes as gay men, we imitate what we think is macho. We puff up like the testosterone inflated guys at the gym, flexing our way into belonging or desirability, overcompensating, and this need to prove ourselves, perform to posture. And for me, though, it was more like a collapse, head down, avoiding eye contact at the gym, retreating into people pleasing and avoiding confrontation. Maybe your version of this is overthinking everything, floating around, lost in your head, rarely speaking up, or so-called servicing other men, totally out of contact with our own power. But we all end up with body image issues, shame and hang-ups, and we need other men to heal this. It takes men to heal wounds created with other men. We hold the keys, right, to each other's trauma and healing. So maybe you can relate to this. I know it took me almost 20 years to wake up from this trance of performative gayness, performative masculinity, shame. I made it into adulthood desperately needing some reparenting, refathering, not really knowing what it meant to be in my power in a healthy way. But I finally found it, and personally I call my place of power dignity. Neither puffed up nor collapsed. This warm, confident presence of a man who is connected deeply to both his heart and his power. This is what I've been discovering, right, through Tantra and men's work that I want to share with you. So let me show it in a way that you can feel for yourself, even if this is completely alien to you, that place of warm, masculine power. So let's try something. I want you to take a moment and just breathe. It always starts with the breath. To bring your awareness into yourself, to get your body and your mind in sync with each other. So literally, just take a breath with me. And first thing I want you to try, exaggerate the collapse posture, right? So you drop your shoulders, you look down, you let your body shrink, like you know this place. This is shame, this is feeling less than, afraid, and it doesn't feel good, right? So now do the opposite. Overcompensate, tighten your muscles, puff up your chest, right? Act like you're trying too hard to impress someone at the gym. You might know this one too, right? That sense of wanting to be seen a certain way. It's tight, it's self-conscious, puffed up with hot air, and try it, right? All right, shake that off. And then last, and this is the good stuff, find that place in between where it's just right. Healthy balance, what we call dignity. Exhale, plant your feet on the ground, feel your power, and relax. Just take up space. Take a breath here. Can you feel the difference? From here to there, to just dignity. That's the man who's confident in you, the secure, relaxed, vibrant, ready for the world man. And he is just as dignified and open when another man is standing in front of him, confident. Tony Robbins at his workshops often has people hold this particular posture, sometimes with the arms out just like this, and you can reset your entire nervous system and way of being into a positive state just by planting your feet and holding this for a few minutes, breathing deeply. It's called a power position, right? And now let's even put this even deeper into action. Imagine there is this other man standing in front of you right now. He's big, he's powerful. And notice what comes up. Do you feel the urge to stand up to him and to prove yourself? Do you feel the urge to escape, right? Or make yourself small? Or can you simply be here with him as his equal, fully present, alive, unshaken in your power? That is your healthy masculinity, your power. To meet the moment without shrinking, to meet another man's presence without needing to one-up him or to people please. To share in respect for each other, equals. To be fully yourself, no masks, no posturing, no fear. That is the man you are becoming. Even you, right? That is your birthright. Maybe you still believe you're not the kind of man who gets to feel this way, but you are. This power, it's not off in the distance. It's already here, waiting beneath the rubble. Hiding in things as simple as how you hold your body as you walk around the world. Hiding in whether you look down when you meet another man. And as you do your inner work, this power comes back. It becomes yours fully and finally, and you get your soul back with it. So the big question here is, how to reclaim the masculine, like now? How to shed everything in your life quickly that is blocking you from standing in your power as a gay man. And here's the catch. The thing blocking you, it's not your body. It's not your past. It's not other people. It's the stories. It's the hidden scripts running your moment-to-moment behavior. Not the loud ones, right? The quiet ones. The ones you've been swimming in for so long, you forgot they were stories at all. The ones that whisper, this is just who I am. And especially as gay or queer men, from the beginning, we absorb message after message, like you're too much, you're too soft, too sensitive, not a real man. It's so easy to become what those harsh voices from the past tell us we are. An ongoing attack, right, from within, a stream of unkind words looping in the depths of our mind from the past. It's so easy to lose our truth, our wholeness, our soul. And if the outside world doesn't say it loud enough, gay culture often finishes the job. Too old, too fat, too femme, too hairy, too needy, not mask enough, not hot enough. You know the apps. You get ghosted, blocked, and dismissed, and somehow it all lands in your body as truth, that you're not what a man should be. Too broken, too much, not enough, all of that. That's the real thing that the real thing you long for is out of reach for someone like you. I mean, is this familiar, right? I've been through it too. Like we say, this is just who I am. But who are we really? So here's where to start. Ask yourself, who am I without the story that says I'm too soft? Whatever you're telling yourself, too much, not enough. Who am I really without all of that trash, that baggage? Who am I without the traumas that shaped me? Who am I without the furtive gayness, the hiding I grew up with? Without the fear of how straight men perceive me? Who am I? So Tantra and men's work carry an invitation to break free, to use this past as fuel, burning through what no longer serves in your life, to cleanse yourself of the swirl of old voices, sullying your inner world and to rise. Not because you're perfect, but because you've stopped mistaking the pain of what you went through for who you are. Choosing happiness instead. Like it's time to rise anew from the ashes of what you went through, to find yourself right here in this breath, no matter what or who is in front of you. This is how transformation begins, by seeing something most people never question, that so much of what you believe is you was simply handed to you, absorbed unconsciously, burned into us. Moments, messages, memories. You didn't choose them, but you've been living by them, and now you don't have to. You're not a victim of the past. You're not a mirror of other people's projections and your ancestors' insecurities. You get to decide what stays. And you get to burn the rest. Burn it. Because when we finally turn inward, when we really go inward, we don't find some fixed identity etched in stone. We find Tinder, not the dating app. We find dry stories, old voices, a heap of impressions we thought were us. And we think it takes years of hard work and spiritual heroics to burn through our pain. But most of what holds us back, it's flammable. It's this pile of old stories dried out and just simply waiting to be set afire. And when you finally see them for what they are, they burn fast, fast. And in the ashes, you find yourself emptied of what was never truly yours or you, clear, alive, finally here. And I've lived this process. I don't know how many times I have walked into a room of men and felt like a dog with its tail between its legs, shrinking, numbing, disappearing from my own life. Disappearing from my own life. And when that feeling returns, I recognize it now as just a memory surfacing, not who I am. Instead of running from the feeling, from the story, I face it. It doesn't get to define me. It doesn't get to define my reality. It doesn't get to stay stuck as the filter I'm seeing the world through. And sometimes I shrink it in my mind, like to the size of a postage stamp in my hand. And then just look at it, take away its power, and shrink it. Or sometimes I'll place it on a leaf and imagine it just floating down the river away. Sometimes I just laugh at it. Sometimes I just laugh, right? It doesn't mean anything anymore. They're just thoughts passing through. They're just old stories. And here's a recent story I discovered running the show. So for years, I avoided martial arts. The block, a vivid memory of being overpowered as a kid by a brother who was 10 years older. Just one still shot image, not even an action scene. And it doesn't even matter that he's a great brother. I think all of us have moments that just get stuck. Even with those who love us most, and even with our best friends, they affect us deep. And for years, and even now with this image of my brother overpowering me as a kid, I can just feel the collapse in my body, the helplessness, the surrender. Giving up that became permanent in me. And it told me there's no point in fighting. And I deal with it. This memory is not allowed to hang out in my unconscious, stirring up problems in my life anymore. So again, I bring that image into focus. I look at it squarely. And it's just right here. Its size, its color, it's not this big, it's in color, right? And just like looking at a poster in this case, I put a frame around it and I shrink it into my palm, the size of a postage stamp, and I look at it. And then I make it disappear. Maybe I replace it consciously with a memory of sparring at age 30 with a friend, or in class where I'm learning self-defense now. But I feel strong and evenly matched in the image I'm replacing it with. I'm laughing. And that works. The block just unravels. And literally, I have signed up for self-defense jiu-jitsu classes after clearing this out. Yesterday, I rolled with someone almost twice my weight, and I didn't feel helpless. Didn't dissociate. That memory wasn't there blocking me anymore. I was really there in my power, and I'm creating new memories that contradict the trauma, the old stories, these frozen little images, and I'm freer. New stories that reinforce my wholeness, my power. It's wild how easy it can be to step into our power. Often it's just a single image running the show in any given moment, and you change the image and you change the behavior. get out of that stuck place. And it's just like that. Something lets go. And even that moment I described earlier, that time I was asked to face off with this much more powerful man in a men's group, and my roar literally got stuck in my throat and left me laughing. That image still lives in me too, right? And even now, I feel a little twinge of fear in my gut as I picture meeting that man's force. I feel the collapse that wants to happen, the shame that wants to pop up. But it doesn't get to live in me all day, leaving me feeling small and weak. And as I speak this, I take that memory. I'll literally tuck it in my palm, just like the stamp, honoring it, making it small, not letting it run the show. And then I imagine the redo, stepping back in that room 10 years later. Imagine myself feet planted, eyes wild, roar full and real. Like we both feel each other's power. There's respect and equality, and it feels good to me. That is the image I let shape me now. That is the man I am becoming. And this is healing. Moment by moment, realizing these waters we're swimming in and clearing out the old alligators and piranhas swimming around in our minds. Claiming your spot in the pond, right? Letting your voice rise above this fray of the world around us. And more often than not, the healing we expect to literally require spiritual heroics, as I said earlier, is unceremonious. And sometimes enormous knots in our soul just unravel suddenly and completely, and we're just done with the illusions. And perhaps they were never there to begin with, outside our minds, and life goes on lighter. And then over time we graduate to deeper waters, and after years of doing this work, I meet other men differently. I'm solid, sensitive, gay, open-hearted, and attracted to whomever I choose. I have my life back. I'm grounded in my body, in my power, and I'm usually authentic, just here, simple, available in my connections most of the time with other men. There's no forcing it. There's no fixing. I didn't have to struggle to get there. It's just literally becoming, letting go of what was never true in my life. That's all it took, letting go of what was never true, and allowing something deeper and warmer and more solid to take its place. A steady masculine presence that softens and strengthens over time, and that is what I want for you too. Because true masculine power really is raw, unshakable presence, right? For me, this biggest revolution was this. I, this queer, sensitive, waif-like guy, have full access to raw masculine power. Once I get past myself, who would have thought? It was inside me all along, buried under trauma and grief and layers of self-doubt, the rubble of my life, and it's inside you too. This power isn't about being hyper-masculine. It's not about getting rid of the feminine. You want to be a whole person. It's not about dominance, aggression, or force. It's about being so deeply in yourself that nothing shakes you. And when we reclaim this, we stop hooking and clinging to others, trying to prove ourselves or reacting. We go from seeing straight men as other and experiencing them as brothers. We become authentic around them. We step into our full presence, alive, radiant in our power, and we come home to ourselves. And I want to give a call out for masculine healing. Like some men reclaim their power in sports or in the C-suite, some through Tantra and embodiment work or men's circles. But whatever path you choose, the goal is the same. To own your masculine energy without fear or shame. To take your seat among men without collapsing, without posturing. To heal yourself so you can hold others in their healing. I spent years navigating this journey alone. You don't have to. And if this resonates, I work one-on-one with men who feel this call to reclaim your power, to integrate your sexuality, to get into your body. If that speaks to you, I invite you to reach out. But this is your time. This is your time.